This is the 2025 Mini John Cooper Works two-door hardtop. This is a car they used to punch above its weight, but today is wearing a color shirt. It has a DJ mode inside the car and it's using active blind spot monitoring. But don't be fooled. There is still a mischief underneath all of this, just under new management. All right, so let's see what this new Mini JCW hardtop can do. 228 horsepower, 280 pounds-feet of torque, 7-speed DCT, and a lot of grip on the front. Great brakes as well. You can see right there, braking and then turning in, taking off. There is a little bit of a lag, of course, something I expect to see in this transmission. I've talked about this in the past, especially on the X1 and X2 and also on the 1 Series and of course in some of the Mini products as well. It's less obvious in this car, mostly because of its smaller size, but you will see that slugginess a little bit more in the Countryman, for example. You can see the car is nicely planted on the road. It's got plenty of grip, turns in nicely, and quite composed, no body roll. Really nice. I mean, those hot hatches are always so much fun to drive. All right, so now let's do a 0 to 60 and see what we get. We have the race box set up. Position myself right here. Straight line, perfect temperature, sticky tires. Let's see what we get. All right, let's see what we got. 0 to 60 in 5.65. That's of course with a 1 foot rollout. If you turn it off, you're probably gonna add another 0.2 seconds to this. We can do one more run to see, but this is definitely quicker than what Mini advertises with this new JCW. All right, so let's do a 0 to 60 with a Mini JCW hardtop. Here we go. All right, let's see what we got. 0 to 60, 5.89, and that's with a 1 foot rollout setting in the race box. Now let's talk about the design of the car. So let me step outside and take a look at this new design language. So let's start at the front, because the new Mini family, it's got a completely different look than before. And that starts, of course, with this more simplified design language we've seen in other Mini products as well. The headlights are also new. You have these 2 bars horizontal right there with this very detailed, very graphic looking design. Then of course, because it's a JCW, you're always getting this color shirt, these stripes on the hood. Of course, they're in different colors based on the base paint of the car. Being a JCW, you will get specific design elements like this grille right here. And then of course, with this new John Cooper Works logo. Once again, because it's part of the JCW package, everything here, it's in this high gloss black. You get a new badge all blacked out as well. Then of course you can see these little tiny inlets on the bottom right there. They wrap around with the fender, also in high gloss black. These spats create a really nice contrast, especially with this yellow color. Of course, once again, in high gloss black. You have 18-inch wheels specific to JCW. They do offer a 17-inch wheel as well. They are wrapped in high-performance tire from Continental. John Cooper Works logo right there. And then, of course, you can see these new JCW brakes. They don't have the Brembo brakes anymore. Apparently, they don't need them because they get enough performance from this. It's a single piston versus a 4-piston they used to get in the previous generation. Of course, the argument there is that if you do daily driving, maybe it doesn't make a huge difference. But if you plan on taking this car on the track, most likely the 4-piston Brembo brake was a little bit better. Moving to the side, the same theme with this high gloss black, which we see also on BMW cars, continues with the mirror cap right there. And then of course you have this roof in the same color and very shiny black right there. Once again, more spats in the back. You got this really nice addition right there. I'm assuming just to kind of give the car more sportiness from the rear. New on the car are the taillights. They are different than the JCW convertible. The housing outside, it's different. The other one still has the old design of the taillights. The graphics inside, you can change them in different configuration. We'll try later on tonight to show different graphics in there. You can change them from the operating system inside the car. More blacked out trim in the back. You have the Cooper logo right there. Now you have the John Cooper Works edition next to it. Once again, the same blacked out logo right there. You can see the blacked out diffuser in the back. Once again, high gloss black, but it's got a single pipe. So Mini went back to the single pipe, even though there are two pipes actually. And let me show you what I mean by that. Underneath the bumper right there, there is actually a hidden pipe. And it opens up in the Go-Kart mode. If you go over 3,000 RPM, it's got a valve in there, and it's supposed to give this B48 engine a little bit more roar, I guess. We're gonna test it out and see if that makes a difference. Specific to the JCW car, also you're getting this additional roof spoiler right here, and you can see it looks quite aggressive, and once again, a lot more high gloss black material there as well. Let me open the trunk. Similar spaces before. You can see there isn't much. Of course, you can fold down the seats right there. You get additional cargo capacity, but if you keep the seats up, if you're traveling with passengers, then of course you should be able to fit maybe one small carry-on and then maybe a backpack or maybe medium size checked bag, I would say. So nothing has changed really there, because the overall size of the Mini Cooper is similar than before. In some areas it has increased in size by a bit, but in other areas maybe it's a little bit smaller. I guess the one thing that makes a huge difference is the wider track, and we're going to talk about that as we continue driving the car. Now let's take a look inside and see what's new in the car. All right, so let's see what's new inside. I've talked about this in the past. Of course, there is a brand new design language, so I'm not going to focus completely on that. I'm going to touch mostly on the JCW differences. So first off, you can see the seat right here, JCW specific, a combination of this Vascon vegan leather with this fabric right there. And then of course you have this red accents everywhere right there. And then of course on the headrest as well. The door sill, you can see it right there. It's got the John Cooper Works logo, so specific to this car as well. If you move to the dashboard, more fabric right here. Once again with these red accents right there. And this nice strap, once again with red stitching. Steering wheel, also specific to the JCW. It's got a little bit of a different shape than the Cooper S. And the best part, you're getting shift paddles. So you got a boost mode, of course, minus and plus, and you can roll your own gears because this car does not have a manual, unfortunately. More JCW elements. You got this strap right here, which is essentially, I'm assuming, just storage space, but you're using this JCW strap to open it up. There is another JCW strap on the steering wheel as well. The centerpiece in the entire car, it's the 9.4 inches OLED screen made in collaboration with Samsung. And because you're getting this larger screen, you don't have the instrument cluster behind the steering wheel. So some people love this integration of the screen without that one. Others don't. I'm torn between them. It takes me a little bit of time to get used to looking at the speed either on the OLED screen or on the head-up display, which by the way, it's standard on this car. And you have the same design as before. It kind of lifts up and you can see the information projected right there, like the speed and other information as well. The screen is powered by operating system 9, which essentially uses the same base code as iDrive 9. In the first iterations of this system a couple of years ago, it was quite laggy, but it's actually gotten a lot better over time. And you can see it's quite responsive right now. You can go from one screen to another without any delays. Of course, it's got a lot of apps, just like on the BMW side as well. The only difference is that the UI UX, it's different than on the iDrive side. It's got a completely different way of presenting the information, so it takes a little bit of time getting used to it. You have information displayed horizontally, like right there, like scrolling. Then of course you can also scroll vertically, so it takes a little bit of time to get used to that approach. Then of course going back, there's a lot of information displayed on the screen, so it's a learning curve, but I guess after a while you will get used to this. Once again, the best part about this one is the fact that it's a lot more responsive, and it's got a lot of Easter eggs as well. You can see one right here. If I hold down on this car, it's going to turn into an arrow. If I do that, it's going to go back. There is also a very cool DJ mode, as I just mentioned a little bit earlier. If you do this, and now I can just do 2 fingers, and you're getting this vinyl right there. It's a gimmick, but if you have kids, I'm sure they will love this. One more thing, what I really like in this car, it's the fact that they've done a vertical integration of the wireless charger. Not only it's vertical, so you can actually take a look at the screen, but it's also got this nice strap and this nice plastic to hold it in place so it doesn't slide around, especially when you're having some fun with this car. The seats are quite comfortable, provide plenty of side bolster support. I do wish that maybe they were a little bit longer, but honestly, even though I'm 6'2", I find them quite comfortable over long distances, and especially while cornering. Plenty of space, even for someone my height. I guess if you want to put somebody behind me, that might be an issue because it's quite tight in there. So essentially, I don't recommend having passengers with you for long drives, maybe for shorter runs as well. But other than that, nothing really different in this car compared to any other Cooper models. So with that being said, let's continue driving and I'm going to tell you more about this car. All right, so when it comes to daily driving, of course, if you get a JCW, you'll get a different driving experience than in a Cooper S. The car is supposed to be sportier, and especially, like you can hear right now, I'm in the Go-Kart mode, so everything is stiffened up as it's supposed to be. But if you want to make this car a better daily driver, of course, you can go down into any of the other modes, and the ride will soften up just a tiny bit, but enough to make daily driving a little bit better. Of course, if you drive on the highway and this stop and go traffic, all these new driver assistance features will help quite a bit. You have things like lane departure warning. Of course, you get this level 2 integration that you've seen in some BMWs where you can let go of the steering wheel up to a certain speed, and then every 7 to 10 seconds or so, you have to take control of the steering. But at least you get a little bit of free time, I guess, so you don't have to be always on that steering. Now, absolutely, if you're buying the JCW, you're buying the car to have some fun, either do some track days or have some fun on the weekends. So you shouldn't be too concerned with the ride quality. Compared to the F56, even though I haven't driven one in a while, I can tell that this one feels a little bit softer in the normal mode, I would say, but then also a little bit more sporty if you go to the Go-Kart mode. And once again, that's by design. We see this on the BMW side as well. Yet, you shouldn't be concerned about this because if you're buying this car, you're buying this car to have some fun. So maybe the daily driving aspect, it's not as important. You can also get the Cooper S, for example, or get a JCW trim for it. When it comes to the F67 convertible and this F66 JCW, there is really no mechanical difference between the two. Of course, the convertible, it's got a little bit of a stiffer body because of the lack of a hardtop, but other than that, the suspension, the steering, and everything else is tuned up to the same level. But of course, if you want to have some fun with this car, you can absolutely do this because it's got so much grip. I mean, once the engine gets into the right power range, you can definitely push it. And look how sticky this car is. I mean, it's ridiculous sticky. It's still got a little bit of torque steer at the front, something that you expect to see in a Mini. The Go-Kart feeling has to stay true to the brand, and honestly, there are not a lot of places where I can push the car here today, but that was enough at a higher speed to see how sticky that car is. And even though you get that torque steering at the front, it doesn't understeer, it doesn't oversteer, it's just planted on the road. So very, very fun drive, I'm assuming, if you put this on the track or if you find some mountain roads. So driving in the city, of course, you will feel the suspension being quite bouncy. I mean, the Go-Kart mode naturally, and this is a good example right here. You know, even though you have the active dampers, the rebound, it's quite aggressive on this one, and that's the nature of the JCW, of course. But if you go into another mode, let's say personal, the car softens up a little bit. I wouldn't say a lot, but it might make a little bit of a difference as far as daily driving. Granted, if you want the most comfortable ride out of your Mini Cooper, might as well go for the Mini Cooper S or for the base model, depending where you live. I've always loved small cars. I have a 1M. I got another small car from another brand that we're not going to talk about it right now. So naturally, I am in love with the smaller format of cars, not only because they're more fun to drive, but also because they're easier to drive if you live in a busy city like Chicago. We're in Savannah today, so it's not as busy, but nonetheless, quite narrow streets, a lot of one-way streets they need to turn in, and the car, it's super, super easy to maneuver, and that's exactly what you expect from a car like the Mini Cooper, even though it's the largest Mini Cooper ever made. Not by much compared to the previous generation, but if you look back to the R generation and even before that, the car has grown in size quite a bit. Nonetheless, as a daily driver in a busy city, you should be just fine. Okay, so what are some of the things that bothers me in the new Mini John Cooper Works hardtop? I would say mostly inside. It has to be the quality of some of these materials. Like the switches, the plastic, it's not great. The fabric on the dashboard, I can't say that I'm a huge fan of it because I'm not sure what's the durability on this one. I know they told me that they've done a lot of testing and they should be quite durable, but I'm not sure how that's going to hold up over time. So that's kind of like my biggest pet peeve inside the car. Maybe the quality could have been a little bit better. The steering is sharp, the chassis is tight, and with this new 215 by 40 18-inch wheels, you're getting some real grip, especially when you turn in. Because of the wider track, you can definitely feel that the car is more planted on the road, and it gives you a lot more confidence as you corner at high speeds. When it comes to dynamic driving, of course, the dynamic active dampers make a huge difference, especially over rough pavement. The best part about the adaptive dampers is the fact that you can actually add a coilover kit to that, and you can make the drive even more dynamic. The torque is up in this car, and that makes a huge difference, not only for dynamic driving, but also for daily driving and overtaking. It does make a difference in stop-and-go traffic if you need to quickly change lanes, but then of course it makes a huge difference if you're on the track or if you're cornering quite hard. There is a bit more understeer at the limit, but it's a friendly one. The car just begs to be driven hard and then giggles about it afterwards. As you've seen plenty of footage today. The F66 feels noticeably more mature than the F56. It's quieter, better damped, and more compliant overall. Even better, now it offers features like adaptive cruise, lane keep assist, and a 3D navigation with augmented reality. Still fun, but now smart too. When it comes to dynamics, you can say the Mini did not forget its roots. It's agile, still playful, still wants to be tossed into corners. But overall, it's a more mature car, more developed car, and more comfortable in many ways. If you're looking for the ultimate mischief, maybe the F56, it's the car for you. But if you're looking for a better daily driver, then I would say the F66 will check those boxes. So what are my final thoughts? The 2025 Mini John Cooper was hardtop. It's faster than before, it's more refined, and it's also easier to live with than ever before. But it's also soft around the edges, no manual, no big brakes, and no exhaust drama. But if your idea of fun is changing your own gears via the shift pedals, cornering like a madman, and DJing on the touchscreen inside the car, then this is your Mini, and guess what? It's still got that go-kart feeling. Thanks for watching.